So this is Patriarchy Takes Them as well, too. I mentioned that women are generally the scapegoats and men are affected on a second-hand affected level. Um, you know, roles for women automatically does mean roles for men. But, and I kind of compared it to racism a little bit, where the dominant hierarchy will ruin it for their own kind or what they perceive to be their own kind. So, yeah. Anyways, I would count slavery and racism as a factor in harm from patriarchy. But I am generalizing all male control as the dichotomy of men over women. I assume women issues are overall global for the most part. Uh, Give or take male or female support in the changing society, obviously, because we shouldn't have to be alone. Um, but before I go over male issues, I have to go over non-necessarily eugenic plights that women deal with. Number one, they're expected to be tied down by kids, non-survival children, and the endless role women and men should be paid in this crappy economic world we live in, instead of the division of child support and infighting with that. Um, Nancy Friday would always say, and I agreed, that women are just expected to be a natural mother. Like the mother instinct is just there. And not all women want kids. And even though biological processes like like being emotional and sad and hormonal things affect them while they are pregnant, it doesn't mean that this is some essentialist they want it. This is just biological processes that they can override by saying, well, I don't necessarily want a kid or not. The biological processes of postpartum depression and whatnot, this doesn't really factor in the consent of whether or not they want to have a kid. They don't have a choice to feel all that grinding and tearing of the pushing and pulling of biological things, like I imagine we force the essentialism that women want kids, and so that creates the illusion that they have to have one no matter what, and that they're just a ticking clock. All right. uh Women are bound up in some way, like feet binding and corsets and rings on the neck, which I hear that they get ripped out if they do something wrong. And the burqa, which once they come to America, they can choose, obviously, if they want to still wear it, but I don't think it's a choice over there necessarily. Um, yeah. And women are just kind of expected to have a smile on their face. She must be considered approachable, I guess. But obviously, this depends on the utility of a smile. That, like, a woman being expected to smile is not the same as, oh, say cheese. So, yeah. Specific locations which do still affect men in the kitchen, unless it's a career for men, the honor of walking behind him, and if she doesn't, then it's dishonorable towards him. Um, and I heard of a tribe that separate women into menstrual huts. Maybe this is a pragmatic biohazard thing, but even the Bible will call menstruating women impure and you shouldn't lay with her or whatever. Impure, I don't know if this is just biohazard or a mystical scapegoat, but yeah. Um, oh, and the seed is his to mate guard, as it seems, turning into the ontologically evil pro-life stance in Texas, no matter if she was raped or the baby rots inside her, they don't care about women, plain and simple, and they could care less about orphans piling up. Women having to be clear with yes or no when it should be more complex than that. So men seem to weaponize consent to some level. You obviously aren't responsible for getting raped, though that's still a situation of survival that individually people need to, shouldn't be shamed on them, but obviously, like, we're aware that men are predators, so, yeah. Alright. Men, as we know, are associated with some minor anachronistic biological underpinnings that aren't compatible, or they're not all that compatible with society today. Men are stronger. This is just biological, and this essentialism expands with willpower, emotional control, mentally sound and logical. And these myths are still around. Maybe the world is throwing this out slowly, though, which is good. Men are honored with the gender difference by continuing their line with juniors and seniors and etc. You don't really have woman lines. Men can hoard all the wealth initially, have bank accounts, shiny gold into male-presented hierarchy, yet women are the ones associated with gold diggers and status obsession via hypergamy. So kind of a scapegoat to dismiss reality, even if there's a utility in the framing of women wanting a dude for his resources, or the other way around with uh, 4. Sexually accepted. I sometimes hear women sexually being associated with devilish behavior, which is generally used for men to pretend to overcome women. Yeah. These male positive associations can backfire, and they become unwarranted stereotypes. And obviously there's unconventional men who are shamed for this. But any woman gets shit and attitude whether she puts out or not, or she has blue or blonde hair. So for the most part, women just kind of, they'll just get picked on. That concludes this for now.